Hello, happy Friday, end of the week, love it. Right, we've got another figurative piece today. Charcoal, acrylic, usual stuff. Okay, you need a rubber, you need some paint. We're going to put some colour on first. So I've got my hair dryer on there. We're going to dry it off, then we're going to use charcoal and we're going to rub out the light bits and things like that. Okay, might try and leave some areas today rather than do the whole thing in charcoal, and just kind of do the figurative area, and then try and get some of this lovely fabric in the charcoal technique. Yeah, it's kind of an abstract version of what we're looking at, so I'm going to be putting a lot of colour, well, not a lot of colour, just kind of cameo yellow, alizarin, some burnt sienna. In fact, I need some more yellow actually, and then a bit of blue, probably alizarin. Leave it, might even have purple, don't know. And then leave it to dry, or dry it off quick. Then we're going to use some charcoal over the top, draw the figure, remove the tonal values, especially in the skin tones. Yeah, we can call it despair. We can call it whatever you want. She might be just having a lie down. She's tired, so there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Nothing wrong with that, as we should say. We're saying Wigan note. Sorry about that. I just veered off into my Wigan accent. Alright, rubber, willow charcoal. Don't use compressed willow. And you probably need white pastel at the end and compressed at the end, but mainly willow to start with. Okay, so colour first. Clean brush, big one, lots of water. We can have lovely warm colours, can't we? Yes, and we can get sienna in here as well. Like I said, I'm not actually bothering too much about where these colours are going to go. You know, just give us some warmth. Then a bit of ultramarine to give us this lovely cool. It's probably going to be the shapes of in the fabric. I think I'm going to leave some white areas and just kind of, you know, do some kind of texture technique. I don't want to leave it. I just love seeing what the paint can do on its own, rather than trying to do everything or paint everything, you know. So out of chaos we will have, just turn it round a bit, out of chaos we will have harmony. A bit like saying of today. I'm going to dry it off a little bit now. Just stop it from running, so I can use that just to keep it, stop it running and just give some texture. Okay, nice watered down pigment. As you can see, I've probably got the area of the figure in this half where the warmer tones are going to be, and then the cooler ones over this side. It is a brown. You've got the coloured version. It is a brown robe she's wearing. So you'll have that. That's the colour. I'm going to kind of make it up a bit. No wax on this one today. No wax. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to rub out with a bit of tissue some of the wet areas. When you do this, see, if it's still wet, you get nice textures like that. Yeah. You see. It's sometimes nice. They will be part of the painting, so sometimes nice to just have those. We can do more glazing later. I'm going to use a bit more colour, probably sienna, and then charcoal stick. Alright, and but like I said, probably not the whole picture, just part of this area. Alright, so nice thin glaze. I will just try and get rid of this big bubble in the paper. Plenty of time, no worries. We'll do this easy today. If you're working with me, if there's anybody there, that is. I've just put something on the page. You'll be hearing about. I've got my appointment with the hospital next week, which is at Cheadle Private Hospital, and it's on a Wednesday. So there will be no class on Wednesday, but I'll be doing it Thursday. Wednesday will be the first one of the next 12 weeks, 12 classes. So if you're signing up again, I will just carry on. If you could pay by Wednesday, that'd be good, or even Thursday before we start. But Wednesday should be the day that we start. But I'll put something on for the first one. Okay, so it's got rid of a lot of that that bubble, a bit of sticky tape. So if you didn't catch all that, next Wednesday there's no online class and there's no watercolour class because I've got my hospital appointment. Okay, so if you miss it, if you missed it and you turn up at watercolour, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I'm just going to block in some areas, kind of, you know, areas that are going to be part of the figure, actually. So, you know, nothing too fussy. House of chaos again. And then we can blend this to give us a mid-tone value. Gets rid of a lot of that, scratch the paper too, that. Some charcoals do that, a bit hard. We've got some warm tones, cool tones, textures. There's a little bit of water, it's a bit wet there, see. And then we're going to sketch it out. Now you don't have to fix this because we're going to just sketch it out and then we're going to glaze it a bit with some water. Okay, so we use the head as a constant again. Looking at the picture, okay, you can say the head, from say the top of the head to about where the chin's going to be is one head, two head to that point in the gap, so that's one head, two head. Three head is the back of the knee here where the calf is, and that's the same size. Three head, four head, five head takes you off the picture. Okay, so that's how we measure. We want 5 heads, so I want to be 5 heads from here, which is about halfway down picture plane. So I put a head there. That's one head. Yeah, one. We need some room to get the hand on. Just about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should get it easy. Okay, we can block that in because it's a little bit darker. So that's our head shape. And the shoulder is on level with the back of the head, which is about here. So we put the shoulder in, okay, and then we can put the shape of the other shoulder in. She's going away from you, and then we get this lovely shape of the back. Don't worry about where you're going to end up. In fact, this blue is exactly on the line, which I couldn't have planned it any better. So it's one head, two head to that shape, so it's one head, two head. If I go that way with the arm, because it's at an angle, and then I've got the head kind of down here, and I can see that the arm is going to come this way. You can see, so you're getting this lovely shape of an elbow, like that. Again, give it muscles. Needs to have muscles. So that's the shape of an arm disappearing underneath a hand, where you can just see her fingers, and then the other hand is on the floor here, like that. So I can just see a finger there as well. I can leave that. That's the back of a hand. Alright, and the ear is about there, and the back of the hair is about there. Not easy to see, but I'll put it in with compress later. Okay. So this is the dark part of the arm. It's scratchy, this. Let me change it. Scratching my paper. That's better, see. Oh, that's doing the same. I was only saying how good it is, this circle. It's scratching. Soft to stick. That's better. Okay, so the shadow down the arm, about here. You can measure the arm as well from the shoulder down. So it's kind of one head, two head. We've got this shape, haven't we? 1, 2, that's it. And then from here. So that's where this shape is going to be, like that. And that knee comes right up close to the figure. And then on the floor we've got the shape of what she's wearing. Alright, so this we can bring it further out, and from the back we've got this negative space which is quite dark under that armpit, like that, and then the shape of the material like this. This is going that way, it's creating that curve, and this comes all the way around like that. So 1 head, 2, 3, this is the back of the calf, which is about here. And so that's the one, that's that one knee, and then the other knee is about here, because the back of the calf should be on level with the head actually, it's about there. So that's the back of the calf, and then you can just see where it disappears into her feet. Alright, and then this comes round, something like that. Something like that, yeah. So, and that's quite dark as well, because it's, so this is the other knee, catching a lot of the light, and then we hit the floor again. Inside of the knee, creases, then all this material. It's going to be, so keep the back nice and level, and then the material. The front of her arm, like that, back of her ear, the neck, and then the shape of her neck, and the shoulder. Okay, try and do overlapping techniques, foreshortening if possible, like this, so you get a nice shape. Quite simple pose, and we can just see her other arm poking out to about here, because that's going that way, but it's just a dark shape, so the dark shape in the distance between the knee and the dark shape. Okay. These things can be changed. This is the folds in the fabric. We just make out a foot there, which is, and then the folds in the fabric at the back. Okay, very simple. Am I still on? Yeah, good. We can see all that. I'm just trying to get it steep angle. So we can glaze it. Right, I'm going to fix it with a bit of hairspray. I'll put some compressed on as well at this stage, just so you can see the back of her head, because you can't really make it out. So I've got a bit of compressed here, let that dry off. Use a hairdryer if you need to. On the back of her arm, which might actually be shorter than that. Is it something like that? So the back of her head is coming up like that, and the hair. Then we've got a shape, and it comes off. And then we go around like that, and then we've got this area and the ear, which is just protruding, if you like. And then at the front, we can just see her eyebrow and her hair. That's it. A bit of compressed charcoal. That. We can put the front of the shape in of the arm, where it's slightly darker there. I'm not bothering about this. Might put this one in, just where the fabric is, as it goes away, something like that. Okay. And then inside, it's quite dark there, so I'm just going to block this in as it goes underneath the figure. You'll have to excuse my son, he's got hay fever. It's a bloody shame. Can't get rid of it, just been for injection. I think with it being raining, it wouldn't be as bad today. Unbelievable. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Because I've sprayed gesso and charcoal again, I'm going to spray it again. That's compressed charcoal, so it's a little bit darker. Nice and simple. Stand back. Have a look from a distance. Try and make sure things are in proportion. They'll all become obvious in a bit when we start rubbing out. So I'm going to glaze some colour over the top when it's dry. Just check that you are compressed. I keep a clean finger, if possible. Dry, clean finger. That it doesn't come off too much, if anything. Looks like it's coming off actually. If it comes off, just do it again. And dry it with your hair dry. You don't want that smudging like that. If you can help it. That's why it disappears. So I use a hairdryer again. Try it again, that's better. It's not coming off. Make sure you put enough on. Keep your cloth handy, need that in a bit. I've not rubbed out the light, but I'm going to rub it out when I've done with my cloth actually. So we've missed out the rubber section, which is okay. This time, a bit of sienna, quite a bit of white water mixed with it. We can either go straight across, or you can just go down the picture. We can have a bit more warmth here on the floor. If you want. Or we can just leave it to be white paper. So it just gives you that other texture. A bit of glazing. Take off the excess. You might have a shiny surface now, so just have a look at that in a minute. Take off the excess, not access, excess water and drips. Like that. Leave some texture. It's quite difficult to see at the moment on there. You might be getting light from the window as well. I'm going to dry that and start using my cloth. Okay, damp cloth, So if we look at the background, it's slightly darker than the figure, especially at the top. So if I can, I'll probably start here actually. I'm just going to take off the light bit at the top of the shoulder, where you've got this lovely soft nice light area. Now it's quite wet at the moment. I don't usually do it so quick, but I just want to get one little bit area slightly lighter, which is than the other bit, which is going away. So that's the other shoulder, then the neck, there. It's dry now. You control it better when it's dry. And then as it's coming in to this shoulder, it goes lighter. Okay. So this will give you a quick insight into what the pigment, the paper and everything else is going to do. Yeah. Try and get rid of your lines. We've got the neck and the tendon in the neck there, and then we can see a bit of a jaw here. And just removing it very, very slowly, which goes into the side of the face, which is down here, forehead, something like that. Just a little bit where you can see her eye. The ear, there's quite a bit of light catching that ear. Just see the shape on the outside, and then a little bit on the inside, and that's it. That blends into the back of the neck. And then if we look at the background, it's slightly darker. So we can just take a little bit more tone off around the hair, like that, because we can paint that. So the texture of my boards coming through, you can see the light around the head, which is there. I'm going to get to the hand now. I've got a bit of a finger. I've got the finger here, like that. And then I've got the side of a wrist, which is that light catching her arm, and reflected lights on the other side of her arm. And then where the arm comes into the forearm, it blends, and you get the forearm. Something like that. You got a hard edge there where you're going to get the bony part of the elbow, which catches more light than the rest of the figure, the rest of the arm, if you like. And then as we're coming down, we're going to just emphasise that muscle on top of the arm, a bit more light here, and then it comes in like that, and then down, and more or less a straight line, see, and then it blends around the arm. So the centre of the arm is quite dark here, and then underneath the arm goes light again, because it's getting reflected light. So just take the light off under the arm, not a lot, just a bit, and blend that in. So you do get slightly darker tone in the middle of the arm. Okay. Just do that in there. Right, so this is quite dark here, and then it's quite dark in the rest of the shoulder. We've got a nice light catching the top of a shoulder there. You usually get a bony part about there where the bone it, where the shoulder blade meets. It goes into the neck, you can see, like that. And then this bit is going to soften off because it goes into the back. We've got another muscle here, a little bit lighter. And as we get to the underarm, it blends into the top of the shoulder blade, top of the shoulder. It's a little bit darker. That's all. Alright. Leave that as it is, you can come back to it if it's not dark enough. But you want the shape. And on the surface of the skin here, slightly lighter tone. I do try and do a bit more on the back there. That's where there's a lot of light catching it. And yeah. And then you get the shoulder blade on the other side. It goes into the neck and then goes into this blade here. Alright, and that was that way. So there you go. Nice highlights. Top of the arm. Just there. Keep that shape a little bit darker because it's in shadow. Yeah. And the jaw. Like that. So there we will have quite a big light area, and here will be a little subtle change in tone from the light bit. Okay, and then that comes into the right. The back a little bit lighter. I'm looking at the skin tones first. Trying to get the correct area of light on the skin. So, and then we go into the shadowy part. So we do have to blend it in just slightly, but keep it in the dark. Okay? Now, this is background. There's a few ways you can do it. You can either get your brush, soft brush, wet it, and then when you take the colour off on the charcoal, it will be a lot easier coming off. So if it's dry, that is, so you can see, you go right back to the white gesso, near enough. Got a bit of colour because of the acrylic. Alright, this is the negative space at the back of the figure, which brings out the shape of her arm, the other arm, which also has a bit of light catching, and the light on the floor, which is not very dark, it's not very light, and then we try and get rid of the line between one arm and another, possible, which fades into nothingness. Stand back. Yeah. I'll just turn it a bit because it looks a bit wonky. I've got my camera in a funny position this time. So drop it a bit. So that. Okay, so I've turned the negative out there, which makes it more interesting. You can leave the background if you want to. And now I'm just going to spray this cloth because it's drying out as I use it. And I'll see if I can do a bit of the fabric. I know what I forgot to do actually. The other fingers, I've got a little bit of light on the thumb. There. There's quite a bit of light on the floor. But it's not light, it's shadow. So let's make it a little bit lighter than the finger. This is white paper, so there's no colour on that. And then the top of a finger here and the knuckles on one hand. And then you've got the other one, top of the finger. Just stick your fingernail in to take the light off. And then we could paint around that, we could draw around that later. A little bit of light off the thumb and the floor. Fingers, hands, that's the other hand. Over the top, which blurs into a lot of the similar tone. Let's do that. I'll redraw that later. I'll just put a little bit of reflected light on the side of the figure because she's going to get some light from the floor. Try and keep it, again, curving. And then we'll look at the fabric. Now if we look at the fabric, we've got areas that are big shapes like that. And then we've got other areas that are thin shapes. So you put in the highlights of the creases in, like this, but you're trying to make it slightly darker in areas like that. So just take the light out so you get the folds in your fabric, like that. And then the bits in between are a little bit lighter. Then you get a dark bit, and you get another fold. Like that. That's all you have to do. Light, mid-tone, shadow. Think about that all the time. Light, mid-tone. Okay, and then we'll come around here. We've got a slightly lighter tone there, and then a nice area here. This goes up to there, I think. This is quite dark. There's a bit of a knot. There's a knot there, so there's a little bit lighter to the knot where it's tied, like that. And then as we get to the top of the thigh, you're getting these light areas, like that. We can put some darks in later. And a light area there. And creases, quite a few here, right down to where the knee is, back of a calf, yeah, and then it's going off in that direction. So here we're getting a little bit of reflective light. Not a lot. There's a little bit underneath as well. And then we're getting some creases. to going into this knee actually because it's being stretched. So the fabric is being stretched into the shape of a knee on this one. And this is quite light here because it's getting a reflection from the floor. Then it goes off into a shadow. Something like that. There's some shapes here as well as you're going up the leg to the top of the leg actually. This needs redrawing a bit. See? Great way of doing fabric. Right, we'll have a bit more light at the back of the figure just to show where she finishes and the background starts. Again. Top of the foot. Same principle here. There's big curves, light, especially on top, side, and the side of the foot, and smaller ones. It's got a pattern on, but I'm not attempting to do the pattern. Keep that light over to one side. Somebody at the blooming door, would you believe it? Again. I'm online, so that is going. Probably selling. You like new windows? I'm actually getting them. So I like that, and redraw this in a bit, and then the folds and the fabric here. Okay. You can see me do it window, but I still knock. Bit of light on the floor. I'm going to redraw. And some on the floor. Shadows. Like I said before, if you do live classes, it's a really good way of capturing something very quickly. I mean, what have we been going? 30-40 minutes without doing a lot of work. So if I use my compressed again now, and I can emphasise some of the dark areas, which is like under the arm. What I try to do as well is not to just have a line. Sometimes it's nice to have a line, but then sometimes you can have it looks wrong, so it emphasises a light area, if you know what I mean. So you put a dark line which I've just said get rid of that, but you put a dark line next to a light area, it emphasises it like that, so it brings it forward. You got the same thing here, very thin line, then coming down straight into the arm and the hair like that. The back of her ear, it's quite dark that, so. Back of her neck, it's got a little bit of a granite there. Top of her head. Okay, and if we get to the hand, it's wrist and side of hand, top finger, other finger, and then this one is thumb, finger, on the floor. Leave the shadow just to darken it a bit, make it thinner, stop it looking like a sausage. Yeah, and then we can do the thumb again. I have sharp nails, and then from there here, a hair. This part of the head's quite dark because it's in shadow, and then the rest of it goes a lot lighter. Just at the top there, I'm going to try and make this shape disappear into the background. So tonally, it goes from nearly white to background colour, can you see? So there's no actual kind of line there, and as we're coming down, I'm blending it into the rest of the skin tones. This is where you get that light hitting. Like that. Shoulder blade, go to the arm. Blend it. A slight curve on the, because you've got a muscle there, then that goes into the forearm. You've got a bony elbow. Bony elbow. The side of the hand, it's not that dark. Fingers look quite big, but I'll sort that later. And then I'm going to look at the fabric, because where I've got some of the creases, I've got some very strong shapes, shadows. Yeah, we can emphasise things like that. And then coming up here, quite dark. This goes in between, it's darker. And we've got these curves, dark shapes. So it's like you get a light area, then you get a dark area. Alright. Coming down the knee. And you've got these kind of little arrows, darts. A bit of the shadow. And the shadow there. And then some of these creases is the side of your pastel. Straight edges. Blend it. And then here we've got quite a few of these areas of dark against light. So you're getting some shapes overlapping others. Blend them in. You'll find you're doing the shadows more than you're doing anything else. You want some of these folds, and as they come up they go lighter. So just soften them off. Don't forget to put them where the dark bits are. And it's like the shapes in between where it hits this leg. Alright, so that's a bit darker than the other. We'll give it some structure, somewhere to sit on the floor. Some more fabric. That's very biblical now, isn't it? We've got all religious. All religious. Quite like the way it just kind of disappears there, so I'm going to leave it as shadow. Stand back. Just going to curve the back a little bit more, so I get softer edge. Set amount of paint into it, so here we go. We can use a little bit of white. Just put some of these in. These little folds. Make a big difference. That's quite a dirt there, isn't it? Where the knees, bony knees. You could use some white pastel, but I think it's going to be too white actually. I'll leave it as it is. The white pastel. So I'm going to use a bit of white paint. It's only 10t. Put some in the palette. Might do a bit of background. So pick up some white. Touch of blue. While we've got blue at the top, I can create this negative space. It's quite light. Okay, down to the floor. Well, where the elbow is. Right, you can use the same colour. Just at the back here. A bit more white, I think. Just to pick out the shapes and the background. Blend it in. Right, and my glaze around the head. Down to that hand. Stand back. It's a bit foreshortened on the camera because you're seeing the head's very near and the rest of the body's going away from it. But we can use other things now, like a bit of sienna, which we've just had, so I need a bit more, just to start adding colour. So this is where you can put opaque paint on. Alright, so we want to use a bit of sienna and mix some white with it. So a lot of this fabric then we can paint, because when you get near the knee there it's quite light and you've got nice highlights, see? Anything that's really kind of difficult to paint, rub out I mean, easier to paint later. Okay. I've got a bit of glycerine here as well. not going to do too much weight on the figure, if any. Probably a little bit on hand, fingers, top of the hand. Wrist, elbow, you can just keep doing this. So on and so forth. Yeah. Background. And it's opaque paint. Pure white. On the floor. Covers up. A bit more depth. Stand back. Do some more glazing. You wanted to. A bit of red. Put some red under the arm. Just give you that reflected light. Yeah. I think I'm going to leave her. Quick, 1 hour charcoal study. Dried it off. Put some white. In fact, I'll use some pastel just here. Back. Just to give that really strong highlight. Okay, that's it. Well, that's it. You always get a strong light at the top of that shoulder. We can use pastel as well, but don't forget to fix it just to lighten areas. Mixed media. again. Emphasize shapes. Sometimes it's hard to see where you put any colour and you just use, because it's the same as the underpainting. Okay, right, I'll turn it round, take the tape off. Let's see if we can break my light again. Quite enjoying that. Went for a lovely meal tonight in Manchester, so all been with it. And don't forget to varnish it, spray it, varnish it. And it's there forever and a day. Just turn it. There you go. Okay, you can carry on glazing the skin if you want, whatever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. So we've got a class on, an online class Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, because I'm working Tuesday morning. But then the next one, that's the 12th class on Tuesday afternoon. And then on Wednesday, I've got my hospital thing for my head. And then on Thursday, I'll do the first class of the next 12. So if you're joining me, let me know. I'll carry on because I've got a few people who paid me. Okay? That's when I don't give anybody, that's when I'm going to stop. Alright, so thanks for watching. Have a go and have a good weekend. Bye for now.